So have y'all gotten a chance to check out the Suge remix, DaBaby featuring Nicki Minaj? So I heard it online the other day, and I have to say this is the Nicki Minaj I've been waiting for a while. This is the Nicki Minaj that I knew existed. This is the Nicki Minaj I wish would put out a song. Okay. When I heard it, now I have to say a lot of people, and I don't necessarily think that they were barbs, but I think a lot of people definitely was feeling this song. It could have certainly been because obviously she hopped on DaBaby's song, but I have to say Nicki Minaj has always, in my opinion, been just an excellent feature artist. She has always been really, really good with features. No matter the feature, Nicki hops on it and it just becomes a different song altogether. And she's been doing features forever, which is why everybody wants a Nicki Minaj feat. They want her on their songs. They absolutely do. And maybe that slowed down a bit, but I'm glad that DaBaby see that there is still life left in Nicki Minaj, even if other people have turned against her. All right. Nicki is still, in my opinion, one of the best there is to do it. And I'm not talking about female artists. I'm not talking about female MCs. I'm talking about one of the best to do it. Okay. Now, you may listen to this and say, oh my gosh, you're so biased. I mean, somebody got to stand up for this woman, because every time I look on the internet, people riding Cardi B, and I really didn't even want to bring her up in this, but it's just like, no matter what Cardi B does, they're just like, oh, it's okay. Cardi B is so real. Oh, Cardi B gets online every other day whining and complaining, and it's like, oh, it's okay, she's so real, she's just venting, oh, she should just be happy. But Nicki Minaj does it, and she's bitter, she needs to shut up. Why is she complaining all the time? And I've made the whole Nicki hate train video before, so I really don't want to have to revisit that, but it still just bothers me how no matter what Nicki does, no matter what she does, people just won't let up. Like, they just won't. She damned if she does, she damned if she doesn't. She cannot win where we are right now in the industry. So when I heard her on this remix, I thought to myself, I hope that this Nicki is coming back for good. I've said it before, I felt like Nicki needs to evolve, and I stand by that. I still think her music needs to evolve, and that's actually more along the lines of what this video is about, more than the whole card. I don't even care about that stuff anymore, to be honest with you, but I do in fact want to just I guess support when I see that something is unjust. I do support. Now, I don't agree with everything Nicki Minaj does, and I have never agreed with everything she does. I have said it before, even though I love Nicki, and I still say to this day, I think a lot of the stuff that happened with Nicki Minaj, she probably brought on herself. But that does not mean that you get to discredit everything that this woman has contributed to music in the last decade. And that's what I feel people are trying to do. They're trying to erase her, and that's where I have a problem. That's where I have a problem. You're not going to sit here and erase a decade-long, length of work. She has been working nonstop for the last decade, and all of a sudden people want to act like that the last 10 years never existed. All right. And that Nicki wasn't at the top of her game for many, many years. Now, yes, for the last couple of years, we have seen a bit of a drop, and that is because the industry made an effort to put someone else in the top. And for the record, I've never been one to feel like it just has to be one person. They don't do that to men. And so I wish that they hadn't did that when it came to women in hip hop. All right. There was room, and there is room for Cardi B. There's room for Nicki Minaj. There's room for Cash Doll. There's room for Saweetie. There's room for all of these different women. There is room for all of them. But, I don't know if y'all saw this. T.I. did some kind of trap museum out in L.A., and he had like this display of this throne, and then you had Nicki Minaj on one side, you had Cardi B on one side, and a lot of people had some really strong opinions about that. They felt like he was equating both women. It could also have been interpreted that he just wanted unity between the two women. All right. I saw a lot of really good discussions about it. Me personally, art is always up for interpretation. So you can interpret that however you want. I'm just hoping that people understand, and what if I was Nicki Minaj, I might feel a type of way about it, especially if it doesn't have anything to do with unity. All right. I used to be a teacher, okay? If I've been a teacher for 20 years and I have put in all this work and this newbie comes in, this neo come in, and all of a sudden they are equating what I've done for the last 20 years to what this neo has done for 1 year, I would feel a type of way too. And so, like I said, art is up for interpretation, and people are allowed to interpret things however they want to. All right, in that. But I did see that, and it did get a lot of buzz. But I don't want people to forget how much work this woman has put in, which leads me to actually what I wanted to talk about and my advice to Nicki Minaj as she moves forward and hopefully evolves into this. I've said it before. She is damned if she do. She damned if she don't. Honestly. But I hope Nicki understands she has something very, very powerful in front of her, and she's not even using it to the best of her ability. She's just not. And that is Queen Radio. It is obvious that Nicki has been technically, you could say, blackballed. All right. A lot of music stations are not playing her music anymore. All right. It's all about, you got Cardi and you got these other, up and coming rappers, and they're more interested in their music. And you know what? As from the business aspect of it, I can't get mad at that. If people want them to have a rotation, how can you be upset with that from a business point of view? All right. And Nicki, as far as some of her latest music, I didn't like Megatron. I said that in my last Nicki video. I love Nicki Minaj. I just couldn't get it to Megatron. I just didn't like it. I tried though. I really tried. But when I heard Nicki on DaBaby, I'm like, okay, now that's the Nicki Minaj I love. That's the Nicki Minaj I know exists. What Nicki Minaj has in front of her on Queen Radio is she has an entire platform to remind people of just who she is. Nicki has a decade or a little over a decade of music that she should be using her platform to make sure people remember, I'm still that bitch. I've always been that bitch. Nicki needs to do that. I have to be honest. The only reason why I have been tuning in to Queen Radio for the last several times that she's been on is because of the drama. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I don't like when she go off on somebody. All right. When her and Cardi B got into it, I was one of the first people waiting to hear what Nicki was going to say about it. And she did not disappoint. Okay. But after a while, Queen Radio only became about like grievances. And it's just like, okay, Nicki, you got an entire platform in which to just focus on your content. Focus on the music that people loved about you. If it was me, I would be playing my music, which she does. Don't get me wrong. She does play it. But I would be going into like some of the background. I would be having all these story times about how this song came to be and stuff. I think she just isn't using Queen Radio to the fullest extent. This really could be how Nicki transitions out of full-time music into something else if she uses her platform correctly. She has people are listening. They're listening in, but unfortunately, Nicki, they're listening in to see who you're about to get cocksucker of the day, and that just isn't that important anymore. Like, listen, we all have grievances, but she, again, has the bully pulpit, and she can say whatever she wants. But Nicki, this would be a great time. Again, you put all these people on the Megatron Challenge. You were putting them on Instagram. Why not bring some of those artists that are unknown up to your radio station? Why not bring them up there and get to know some of these unknown artists and let them showcase more of their music? Not just for the Megatron Challenge, but if you are serious about like helping people move forward, I think that this would be a great opportunity for Nicki to really, practice what she preaches. And it's not all on Nicki, okay? So I'm not sitting here saying, well, Nicki has to always make sure that she gives props to other women. No, she doesn't. But I'm saying that this would be a great way for Nicki to transition into A&R, transition into something bigger, okay? Now, Jay-Z did that. Like, eventually you just have to move forward, okay? It can't always be about some man sucking your clit and, people, bitches is your sons and stuff like that. That was fine. But now, Nicki, I just see something bigger for you. I just see you moving in a bigger direction. Whereas you don't have to, again, air out your grievances every single time Queen Radio is on. You got so much content, Nicki. Let's go all the way back to 2008, 2009. Let's hear some of those stories, Nicki, about those songs that you made. Let's break down the lyrics to us. Like, seriously, make it about the content, Nicki. And trust me, people want to know. You have your barbs who I can't stand, by the way. Sometimes they just make it unbearable. But you have people that just love you, Nicki. They're not like devoted, diehard, will, lay on railroad tracks for you. But you have people that truly enjoy your content as I have. Okay. And I think you have an audience that would be willing to listen in, and it don't have to be about drama. It don't have to be about who you mad at this time and who deserved cocksucker of the year. I just don't care. All right. I enjoyed the drama for a minute, but now I'm just like, okay, Nicki, you're not using your platform the way I think you should. And you just have so many people that want to hear from you. They want to hear from you, and they don't always necessarily want to hear who you mad at today. They just don't, okay? Just because Cardi B does that bullshit doesn't mean that Nicki needs to always devolve into that. She said what she said. I'm with her 100%, but now, Nicki, you got the bully pulpit. Who are you going to now, introduce us to? What artists out there that did your Megatron challenge do you think really, really got talent? And we want to hear from them. Put them on, Nicki. Matter of fact, it's so funny. Offset's baby mama, Shia Lamore, or I think that's her name on. She did the Megatron challenge. And I had a feeling that Nicki was probably going to try to pretend like that didn't happen, because again, Shia Lamore is Offset's baby mama. Offset got a baby with Cardi B. And as well as I did, had Nicki even remotely shouted this woman out and did the most, people would have been like, oh, Nicki, there she goes. She hating on Cardi B and she just want to put Shia on because Cardi B and blah, blah, blah. Nicki cannot win. Nicki, you can't win. No matter what you do, they're not going to let you win. They have turned against you. The industry has turned, but you still got your platform to say and do whatever you want to do. And I would suggest that you use it to tell the stories. Use it for your content. You got a decade-long library of content, Nicki, and people want to hear it. They want to hear it. We miss that Nicki. We miss mixtape Nicki. All right? I'm not a fan of Megatron. I would love for Nicki to tell us, when she was making certain music, what was she going through? Was she going through a heartbreak? Did something happen that just made her I would love to hear stories behind her music. I think people would tune in. That's just my personal opinion. I think she just isn't using her platform, to its full extent. And I hope that she will. I hope that she will, because like I said, I really love Nicki. I do. But I see that the tables have turned. I see that the tide has turned. And Nicki I just feel, even with the DaBaby remix, people will listen for a minute and then it's gone away and nobody cares anymore. And then they'll be back at hating at her, hating on her for something. I saw just the recent uprise of people. They was so Nicki pulled out a concert that she was going to be doing in Saudi Arabia. She pulled out because of their human rights violations to women. They're very, very strict on women over in Saudi Arabia and gay people, which is one of her biggest fan bases. So Nicki pulls out of it feeling like she's doing the right thing. She still got hammered for pulling out of the concert. They was going in on her for pulling out of the concert. Yeah, why you always cancel, blah, 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 blah. But then Chris Brown is now scheduled to go over there to Saudi Arabia and perform. So they replaced Nicki Minaj with Chris Brown, 50 Cent, and Janet Jackson. Have you heard any noise or backlash for Janet Jackson because she's going over to perform in Saudi Arabia, knowing what they do to women, knowing how they feel about gays? No. That just shows you that, again, people hate Nicki. They just hate her. And she should just stop trying. She should just stop. Like, fuck them. Fuck them. That's how I'm at that point. I'm like, Nicki, fuck them. It doesn't matter anymore. Do you. Go and do you. All right. You're in love. You are now in a new, era of your life. Just use Queen Radio. I'm just suggesting that she uses Queen Radio to her fullest extent. And that, again, is use just all the content. She has a decade long's worth of just content. She can go on and on and on forever and ever. And she got so much content. Queen Radio should never be boring. And she doesn't always have to fill it with, like, who she beefing with today. She doesn't have to do any of that, to be honest with you. Like I said, I ain't going to sit here and be no hypocrite. I was here for it when she was talking about Cardi B and her, and she was letting her have it, and she was speaking her piece. I was here for it. But now that's over. Now what are you going to say? Who are you going to talk about now? You don't need to say, and she was talking about Miley Cyrus, and I don't even care about any of that. Nicki, just give us the music. Give us the music, Nicki. Listening to her on DaBaby's remix just lets me know that Nicki got some. She's trying. Remember, I told you on the last video, Nicki hasn't figured out her sound, and she's trying to figure out her sound, which I think is why she's struggling a little bit. Also, coupled with the fact that, again, the industry has turned their backs on her, and she technically is kind of blackballed. But she's trying to find her sound, and I think that's been difficult. But Nicki, when you was on DaBaby, we like that Nicki. I know I do. Maybe everybody won't agree, and I understand. We all entitled to our opinion. But that's the Nicki I miss. I miss the Nicki that actually be saying something. All right? Nicki, we know you right. We know you right, Nicki. We need to hear that Nicki. We miss that Nicki. Those of us that are fans of Nicki, we miss that girl right there. All right? So I just want to say that, Nicki, come on. Use your platform. You got the ear of the people. You got an entire Queen Radio just for you, Nicki. Use it. That's all I'm saying. Tell us stories. Show us your music. Talk about content. Bring new artists, Nicki. You got this, Nicki. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm done with my vent. Happy Sunday, everybody. Take care, y'all. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already.